Restarting. It is said in The Obstacle in the Way is the Way by Ryan Holiday that when Thomas Edison was in his 50s or 60s, his lab caught fire in a chemical fire. When he arrived at the event, he said, "Kids, look at this display. Look how beautiful it is," or something like that. After he concluded what was in his lab was rubbish in a way. The reality of the situation is that that's not the case. If anything, there was lots of money to be found within those labs, and there was nothing he could do about it. But we often try to reach high goals or try to reach the success and hopes of achieving something. Like the Stoics, you have to remember what the world owes you nothing. You have to remember that every decision or endeavor you decide to get into may not succeed. Every new person you may talk to may have something useful or nothing at all to offer. I guess this is a sort of comfort that nihilists have of the world, to believe that there is nothing in anything, which is a freeing moment, and that really chaos is chaos and we cannot control the outcome. I may be butchering this, but the point has to be made. The less we expect something, the more we free ourselves to be in the moment. Restarting is, I guess, the step. Rebirth like the phoenix. A bit of an over-exaggeration, but the matter still stands. When you start again, you're a beginner. When you're a beginner again, you're open to learn and see things in a new perspective. It's interesting how, as creatures of sociability, we have these modes to evaluate through and externalize it. By doing this, we can view things objectively. We can either write it down and it's out of our head. We can discuss the issue with other people or notice or talk out how we process the information. I guess I learned this from the personal MBA on the chapter about working with yourself. It's interesting to see how restarting is incorporated more and more into our lives of a measure of self-improvement through new media and mediums. This is especially true through games. The oldest games dating back to the 80s. The kind of arcade games where you're made to exploit the money you put into machines to make as much money as possible. It's through this measure of greed that the measure of tenacity is born. It's funny how a new genre is defined through the idea of restarting again. The Dark Souls series and now the Sekiro's Dies Twice all have a level of infamy of trying and dying and restarting to learn and reposture. Even the most popular games, Fortnite or League of Legends, has this idea of restarting and getting back to the game that feeds the learning process. But really, what does it mean? What really goes on through the games? Really, it's a matter of playing something that becomes conscious and then becomes unconscious, and we begin to try and go into, as the book, flow state. That state of just being, 100% committed to a task and nothing about anything else. So how does restarting relate? In a way, we're all creatures of habit, and we're trying to change and break a habit. But the distinction of willpower to restart allows us to move beyond that idea that we start in the situation. Sometimes progress is simply admitting that you don't know. Sometimes you don't know the answer. Sometimes you have to take a step back. Machines that work beyond the capacity to even comprehend have a restart button. Every time you add a new software or program, you're supposed to restart the computer in order for the computer to process the information, whereas the old computers used to do anyway. Sometimes restarting is being able to admit that there's something new to learn, something to try, something to figure out, whatever it means in a way. It's okay to restart and go again.